God. In Christianity, God is understood as the creator of everything and as a single being who exists in three ways: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This idea is known as the Trinity and explains why Christianity speaks of one God with an internal relationship that is unique. Christian teaching explains this as one God who is present in three ways rather than as three independent beings. The Father is linked to creation, the Son to the life and teachings of Jesus, and the Spirit to the power that guides believers. Christian teaching describes God as beyond time, without limits and aware of all things. It also presents God as someone who cares about humanity and listens when people pray. The relationship with God is built on trust, and on the idea that acting with fairness and repairing wrongdoing is essential. In Christianity, this God shapes the entire view of the world and is the central figure of the faith, Allah. In Islam, Allah is the single and absolute creator of the universe. The faith teaches that Allah has no partners and no equal, which is the core idea known as Tawheed. Allah is described as eternal, all-powerful, and fully aware of every action and intention. Islamic tradition speaks about many attributes that explain how Allah relates to the world, such as mercy, wisdom, and justice. These attributes help believers understand Allah's character without turning him into a physical figure or an image. The Quran presents Allah as close to every person and as someone who responds when people call on him. Muslims see their relationship with Allah as a balance between respect, trust, and responsibility. The idea of accountability is central, since each person is expected to follow what is right and avoid what harms others. Yahweh. In Judaism, Yahweh is understood as the one God who brought the world into existence and who chose Israel to live under a covenant with clear responsibilities. This name appears in the Hebrew scriptures and points to a God who is present, active, and concerned with justice. Jewish tradition explains that Yahweh cannot be reduced to an image or a physical form. The focus is on actions rather than appearance, which is why describing God visually is avoided. Yahweh gives laws that define ethical behavior and community life, and these laws are seen as a way to create a stable and fair society. Prayer and study are central practices because they help maintain awareness of God's guidance. Judaism teaches that Yahweh knows human intentions and expects people to act with honesty and respect toward others. Brahman. In Hinduism, many traditions teach that Brahman is the ultimate reality that underlies everything. It is described as the foundation of existence itself, something that does not operate as a personal figure with a defined shape. Different communities focus on forms of the divine that help them understand this idea in a more direct way. Two of the most influential are Vishnu and Shiva. Vishnu is known for preserving order in the world and for appearing through avatars like Rama and Krishna. Shiva is linked to transformation and to the power that brings cycles of creation and renewal. These forms are not competing deities in a strict sense. They reflect different ways people approach the divine within a vast and diverse tradition. Hindu texts describe these gods as deeply involved in the world and present in daily life through rituals, stories, and practices that aim to keep life in balance. Devas. Buddhism explains the world without relying on a creator who made everything. The focus is on the way actions shape experience through cause and effect, which is known as karma. Teachings describe many beings that live in different realms, like Devas, although none of them created the universe or control how it works. The Buddha is seen as a human who reached complete understanding, not as a divine ruler. His role is to show how to end suffering through clarity and discipline. The tradition places great importance on awareness, ethical behavior, and the understanding that everything is constantly changing. Instead of worshiping a single supreme figure, Buddhists concentrate on improving their own conduct and developing insight. This approach defines Buddhism as a path that deals with the world as it is, rather than appealing to a god who directs events. Souls. Jainism teaches that the universe has no beginning and no final moment. It functions without a creator who designs or controls events. Everything is organized through the interaction between souls and matter. Souls are described as eternal and capable of reaching complete freedom when they remove the weight of karma that binds them. Karma is understood as a real substance that attaches to the soul when a person acts with anger, greed, or carelessness. When someone acts with calm and discipline, this substance loses strength. Jain teachings highlight self-control, nonviolence, and responsibility for each action. There are also liberated souls that have reached perfect knowledge, although they do not rule the world or intervene in human affairs. The goal in Jainism is to reach the same state through steady effort and awareness. Waheguru. Sikhism teaches that Waheguru is the one creator who sustains everything and remains present in all places. Waheguru has no physical form and cannot be pictured through images or idols. Sikh teachings describe this presence as timeless and fully aware of human thoughts and intentions. The relationship with Waheguru is built through remembering the divine name, living honestly, and treating others with fairness. The tradition encourages a life in which spiritual practice and daily responsibilities work together. Waheguru is often described through qualities such as kindness, wisdom, and purity, which help believers understand how this presence interacts with the world. These qualities do not turn Waheguru into a human-like figure. They are ways of explaining how the divine is experienced. The goal is to stay connected to this presence through discipline and reflection while contributing positively to the community. Ahura Mazda. Zoroastrianism presents Ahura Mazda as the source of all that is good and as the creator of the world. Teachings describe Ahura Mazda as wise, just and completely aware of both human actions and natural events. The tradition explains the existence of harmful forces through a destructive spirit that opposes what is good. This contrast is not a fight between equal gods. Ahura Mazda is regarded as the higher power whose goal is to bring the world toward truth and order. Followers are encouraged to support this process through honest actions, clear thinking, and constructive choices. Daily life is seen as part of a larger effort to keep the world aligned with what is right. Ahura Mazda does not appear in physical form, and worship focuses on respect, purity, and prayer rather than images. Zeus. In ancient Greek religion, Zeus is recognized as the ruler of the sky and the most influential god of the pantheon. Stories describe him as the one who maintains order among gods and humans. He is connected with thunder, lightning, and the natural order that keeps the world stable. Many myths show him making decisions that affect both daily events and major turning points in human history. Zeus is often portrayed as powerful and unpredictable, which made him a figure people respected and feared at the same time. He appears in countless tales involving justice, hospitality, and the protection of guests, values that were essential in Greek society. Temples and festivals dedicated to him were present across the Greek world, and these practices reinforced his position as the highest authority among the gods. Odin. In Norse religion, Odin is known for his search for knowledge and for his role as a guiding figure in times of conflict. Myths describe him as a god who values wisdom so much that he gave up one of his eyes to gain deeper understanding. He is linked with magic, poetry, and leadership, and many stories show him preparing for future challenges. Odin is also associated with warriors who fall in battle, since they are believed to join him in the Hall of Valhalla. This connection made him an important figure for communities that saw courage and loyalty as essential qualities. Norse texts explain that Odin will face his final moment during Ragnarok, a future event in which the world undergoes a great transformation. This destiny gives his character a sense of urgency and purpose. Ra. In ancient Egyptian religion, Ra is recognized as the main solar god and a central force behind life. He is described as traveling across the sky each day in a solar boat, bringing light and structure to the world. At night, myths say he moves through the underworld and faces a force of chaos that threatens the order of creation. This journey reflects the Egyptian view that the world requires constant protection. Ra appears in several forms across different periods, and at times his identity is connected with other major deities such as Atum or Amun. These changes do not replace his status as a leading figure, but show how Egyptian religion adapted over centuries. Ra is linked with kingship, and many rulers presented themselves as acting under his authority. Temples, rituals, and daily offerings focused on maintaining harmony in the world by strengthening his presence. Amaterasu. In Shinto, Amaterasu is known as the sun goddess and stands among the most important kami in Japan. Myths describe her as a guiding force, whose light brings order and stability to the world. She is connected with the origin of the imperial line, which gives her a central place in national tradition. Amaterasu is often presented through stories that show her influence on natural cycles and the well-being of the land. One well-known tale recounts how she withdrew into a cave after a family conflict, causing the world to fall into darkness until the other kami encouraged her to return. This story highlights her role in maintaining balance rather than governing through commands. Shinto practices focus on respect, purification, and gratitude, and Amaterasu is honored in many shrines, especially at Ise. Olodumare. In the Yoruba tradition, Olodumare is recognized as the supreme source of creation and as the power that gives life to everything. Teachings describe Olodumare as distant from daily rituals, since worship is usually directed toward the orishas. These orishas act as intermediaries that help maintain balance in nature and guide human communities. Olodumare is understood as the one who provides the energy that allows the world to exist and function. This role does not involve governing through commands or appearing in physical form. Instead, Olodumare stands as the origin of all authority and as the point from which every orisha receives strength. People turn to the orishas for practical guidance while recognizing that their abilities come from this higher source. Huitzilopochtli. In Aztec religion, Huitzilopochtli is known as the god of the sun and the protector of the Mexica people. He is described as a force that pushes the sun across the sky and keeps the world moving. Aztec tradition teaches that Huitzilopochtli needs strength to continue this work, which explains why rituals focused on offering energy to him. These offerings were tied to the belief that the universe depends on constant effort to stay in balance. Huitzilopochtli is also associated with leadership and victory, and many stories describe him guiding the Mexica during their migrations. His temple stood at the center of Tenochtitlan, showing how important he was in both politics and religion. Festivals dedicated to him involved music, processions, and strict ceremonies that marked key moments of the year. In the end, each tradition explains the world through its own idea of the divine. Together, they show how people have tried to understand creation, order, and responsibility throughout history.